A child born today enters a world divided into two distinct landscapes. On one side is the physical environment, slow, tactile, and limited by space. On the other is an infinite digital world designed for speed. These two ecosystems are locked in a persistent struggle for a single finite resource, the child's attention. Many pediatricians and physical therapists are observing a historic trend. Neurotypical children are now acquiring physical and cognitive milestones, like crawling and responding to names, later than in previous decades. In response, the CDC recently shifted the milestone threshold on its developmental checklists. By moving the marker from the 50th percentile to the 75th, they changed the definition of a normal timeframe. This highlighted gap identifies delays sooner, targeting a larger group for early screening to discourage the wait-and-see approach. This shift is a reaction to engagement-based design. These are the engineering choices, like autoplay and infinite scrolling, specifically built into digital platforms to capture and hold human focus for as long as possible. Modern childhood has become a collision between two systems. An ecosystem designed to capture attention is overriding a developing brain that is struggling to build its own capacity to focus. Human neural architecture is constructed through a biological algorithm called serve and return. It is a rhythmic back-and-forth process forming the foundation of brain development. The cycle begins when a child serves by babbling, pointing, or making a facial expression. It is completed when a caregiver returns that signal with eye contact, a touch, or a spoken word. A successful cycle moves through 5 stages: sharing focus, encouraging the action, naming the object, taking turns, and practicing transitions. Step 4 requires the adult to wait. This intentional pause provides the child space to process thoughts, experiment, and initiate their own response. Digital screens operate on a completely different frequency. A tablet delivers immediate feedback and constant stimulation, bypassing the pauses and turn-taking required for biological brain building. By removing the friction of waiting, digital devices replace the precise moments where a child develops self-control and independent problem-solving skills. These environmental changes also shape the child's physical body. Container syndrome has become a common clinical observation. It occurs when babies spend extended periods in restricted seating devices, like car seats or bouncers, primarily to keep them positioned in front of a screen. Optimal motor and sensory integration depends on unrestricted floor play. Lying flat allows a baby to feel the effects of gravity, strengthening postural muscles needed to eventually reach for their own feet and roll over. Technology creates a crowding out effect. The risk is the opportunity cost, the hours of physical movement and environmental exploration, replaced by screen time. Passive staring and digital interruptions sap the development of executive function. When a child isn't navigating physical space or entertaining themselves during moments of boredom, they lose the chance to practice self-regulation. Time spent in a frictionless digital world crowds out the messy physical play and natural boredom that wire a resilient brain. To address these aggressive digital ecosystems, the American Academy of Pediatrics has updated its guidance for families. For children under 2 years old, the recommendation is 0 screen time, with the exception of video chatting. At this age, neurobiology is highly dependent on consistent, physical serve and return interactions. For older children, the focus shifts from simply counting hours to evaluating the context of the media they consume. The AAP suggests measuring media use through 3 factors: the quality of the content, the conversation it sparks, and the context where it's viewed. Families can apply this through a family media plan. This blueprint helps parents design their home's ecosystem, designating tech-free zones, like bedrooms and dinner tables, where screens are prohibited to allow for human connection. Using a method called co-viewing, caregivers can transform a passive experience into an active one by sitting with their child and discussing the screen. Caregivers function as brain architects. Through intentional boundaries, they reclaim the physical space and the social interactions required to build a brilliant mind.